My research story. This is the story of finding if there is a correlation between a person's personality type and the type of conspiracy theory they believe in. Coming into research, I had no idea what I wanted my topic to be about. As the days and weeks progressed, I still could not figure out what I was so interested in that I wanted to dedicate a whole year worth of research to. I thought about the things that I love to do. I love to dance, I love to listen to music, but I couldn't think of a question that relates to either of these things that I was really interested and set on. For some reason, I suddenly had the idea to think about what I love to watch on YouTube. I've always been super interested in conspiracy theories, disappearances, and things about the world that just don't quite make sense. So I thought that my research topic should have to do with one of these things. This was the exact list I created of all the things I was possibly interested in. After showing Perlasky this list, we came to the conclusion that nothing was really going to work. Either a topic on the list was way overdone, or something unrealistic, such as solving the JonBenet Ramsey murder case. There was one thing on the list that seemed plausible, which was Area 51, specifically the storming of Area 51, which was taking place as I was deciding on my research topic. Although this topic seemed interesting to me, I couldn't settle on a question surrounding it. I was back to square one, having no idea what my research topic was going to be about. I was still very interested in doing something about conspiracy theories, but began to also think about something surrounding psychology. With the help of Perlasky and former research students, my topic was decided on. I was going to see if there was a correlation between a person's personality type and the type of conspiracy theory that person believes in. The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator was the personality test that I would use to do so. I was very excited when I finally figured out my research topic. It was something I was very interested in and had a plan for how I was going to conduct my research. The methodology that I was going to be using was correlational research, since I was trying to find a correlation between two separate things. To conduct my research, I was going to use a Google form that would be sent out to anyone that would be willing to participate. The first thing the Google form asked was for the participant to enter their 4-letter personality type. If they did not already know their 4-letter personality type, I included a link to the website 16 Personalities where you could take the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. After taking the Myers-Briggs personality test, you are given 4 letters. Each letter represents a different characteristic of yourself. The first letter is either an E or an I, the second letter is either an S or an N, the third is either a T or an F, and the fourth and final letter is either a J or a P. I then had to research to figure out what conspiracy theories were going to be used. I found a list of 12 categories of conspiracy theories that I was going to use to collect my data. After researching the most well-known conspiracy theories, 2 were chosen for each category. Each conspiracy theory shown in the previous slides were presented to the participant in the Google form. They then had to choose one of the 4 multiple-choice answers that best represented how they felt about the conspiracy theory. My goal was to have at least 50 responses. After reaching out to as many people as possible, I was super excited to receive 101 responses. After receiving all of the responses, I decided to split my data into 2 sections based on the first letter of your personality type, E or I. E meaning extroverts and I meaning introverts. The pie graphs on the left represent extroverts, and the pie graphs on the right represent introverts. These 3 conspiracies showed very similar results from the introverts and the extroverts' responses. These graphs also had very similar responses between the introverts and the extroverts. At this point, I was under the impression that there was probably not going to be a correlation between the two factors I was researching. I decided to take a closer look at two graphs that had very different responses from the introverts and the extroverts. Here are the charts that were made with all the responses surrounding the conspiracy theory about chemtrails, as well as the conspiracy about JFK's assassination. As you can see, personality type INFP had the most, quote, "I've never heard of this," responses throughout both conspiracies. I also noticed that for both conspiracies, personality type INTP had 0 responses for "I've never heard of this." Although there were many similarities, I also found many inconsistencies. In the chemtrail conspiracy theories, ENFJs had the most responses saying that the theory was definitely not true. But in the theory about JFK's assassination, ENFJs had the most responses saying that the theory was definitely true. Although I found a few similarities here and there, I came to the conclusion that there is really no correlation between a person's personality type and the type of conspiracy theory that person believes in. Connections can always be made between two factors, but in this case, I really felt like there were more similarities than differences. The limitations of my research are as follows. Although I received 101 responses, which greatly surpassed my goal, the length of the Myers-Briggs type indicator decreased the amount of responses I received. Even though each one of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types were represented at least once, personality type ESTP as well as ISTP were only represented one time. The last limitation I encountered was that I was not able to observe my participants as they took the survey. This led to a few responses having to be deleted because they were incomplete. The data I collected while conducting my research will help explain why conspiracy theories build such large followings, and will also allow people to look at things as a bigger picture to decide what they really believe.